Buenos días, bienvenidos a un, un día más, un día más. Um, Déjame comienzo de nuevo. Buenos días, sean bienvenidos a su programa de lectura matutina favorito, donde nosotros leemos en las mañanas y en las noches, aunque suene irónico o paradójico, pero no importa porque este es un proyecto para ayudarme a mejorar mi lectura. Así que, sin más, lunes, 7:30 de la mañana, vamos a darle. Puta madre. Ahora sí, vamos a darle. Nos quedamos en... And even if she does not, the Fransovna's Daria Fransovna's will get wind of it, and the girl will soon be slipping out on the sly here and there, and there will be and there will be the hospital directly. That's always the look of those girls with respectable mothers who go wrong on the sly, and then again the hospital, drink, taverns, and more hospital. In 2 or 3 years, a wreck, and life over at 18 or 19. Have not I seen cases like that? And now, have they been brought to it? Why? They've all come to it like that. Ugh. But what does it matter? That's as it should be. They tell us. A certain percentage, they tell us, must every year go. Must every year go that way to the devil. I suppose so. That's that the rest may remain chaste and not to be interfered with. A percentage. What splendid words they have. They're so scientific, so consolatorio. ¿Cómo se dice eso en inglés? Sí, sí significa eso, pero no sé cómo pronunciarlo. Nemo. Once you've said percentage, there's nothing more to worry about. If we had any other word, maybe we might feel more uneasy. But what if Dunya were one of the percentage of another one, if not that one? But where am I going? He thought suddenly. Strange, I came out for something. Strange, I came out for something. As soon as I had read the letter, I came out. I was going to Dostoevsky, Ostrov, to Razumin. That's what it was. Now I remember. What for, though? And what put the idea of going to Razumin into my head just now? That's curious. He wondered at himself. Razumin was one of his old comrades at the university. It was remarkable that Raskolnikov had hardly any friends at the university. He kept aloof. I don't know what that means. Was it olive? Aloof? Aloof. not friendly or forthcoming. Yeah, aloof. He kept aloof from everyone, went to see no one, and did not welcome anyone who came to see him. And indeed, everyone soon gave him up. He took part in the students' gatherings, amusements, or conversations. He worked with great intensity without sparing himself, and he was respected for this, but no one liked him. He was very poor, and there was a sort of haughty. It's not the first time this word comes out, and I don't know what it means. Okay. Haughty. Arrogantly superior and disdainful. Sort of haughty pride and reserve about him, as though he were keeping something to himself. He seemed to some of his comrades to look down upon them all as children, as though he were superior in development, knowledge, and convictions, as though their beliefs and interests were beneath him. With Razumin, he had got on, or at least he was more unreserved and communicative with him. Indeed, it was impossible to be on any other terms with Razumin. He was an exceptionally good-humored and candid youth, good-natured to the point of simplicity, though both depth and dignity lay concealed under that simplicity. The better of his comrades understood this. And all were fond of him. He was extremely intelligent, though he was certainly rather a simpleton at times. He was of striking appearance, tall, thin, black-haired, and always badly shaved. He was sometimes uproarious. Uproarious. The hell I told him. Uproarious. Characterized by provoking loud noise or uproar. What? He was sometimes uproarious and was reputed to be of great physical strength. One night, when out in festive company, he had with one blow laid a gigantic policeman on his back. There was no limit to his drinking powers, but he could abstain from drink altogether. He sometimes went too far with his pranks. No, he sometimes went too far in his pranks. But he could do without pranks altogether. Another thing striking about Razumin, no failure distressed him, and it seemed as though no unfavorable circumstances could crush him. He could lodge anywhere and bear extremes of cold and hunger. He was very poor and kept himself entirely on what he could earn by work of one sort or another. He knew of no end of resources by which to earn money. He spent one whole winter without lighting his stove, and used to declare that he liked it. That he liked it better. Sorry. And used to declare that he liked it better because one slept more soundly in the cold. For the present, he too had been obliged to give up the university, but it was only for a time. and he was working with all his might to save enough to return to his studies again. Raskolnikov had not been to see him for the last 4 months, and Razumin did not even know his address. About 2 months before, they had met in the street, but Raskolnikov had turned away and even crossed to the other side, that he might not be observed. And though Razumin noticed him, he passed him by and did not want to annoy him. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Of course, I've been meaning lately to go to Razumin's, to go ask for work, to ask him to give me some lessons or something, Raskolnikov thought. But what help can he be to me now? Suppose he gets me lessons. Suppose he shares his last farthing with me, if he has any farthings, so that I could get some boots and make myself tidy enough to give lessons. Well, and what then? What shall I do with the few coppers I earn? That's not what I want now. It's really absurd for me to go to Razumin. The question why he was now going to Razumin agitated him even more than he was himself aware. He kept uneasily seeking for some sinister significance in this apparently ordinary action. Could I have expected to set it all straight and find a way out by means of Razumin alone? He asked himself in perplexity. He pondered and rubbed his forehead. And, strange to say, after long musing, suddenly, as if it were spontaneously and by chance, a fantastic thought came to his head. To Razumin's, he said all at once, calmly, as though he had reached a final determination. I shall go to Razumin, of course, but not now. I shall go to him on the next day after it, when it will be over, and everything will begin afresh. Suddenly, he realized that he was thinking. After it, he shouted, jumping up on the seat. But is it really going to happen? Is it possible it really will happen? He left the seat and went off almost at a run. He meant to turn back homewards, but the thought of going home suddenly filled him with intense loathing. In that hole, in that awful little cupboard of his. All this had for a month past been growing up in him. All this had for a month past been growing up in him. And he walked on at random. His nervous shudder had passed him into a fever that made him feel shivering. In spite of the heat, he felt cold. With a kind of effort, he began almost unconsciously, from some inner craving, to stare at all the objects before him, as though looking for something to distract his attention. But he did not succeed, and kept dropping every moment into brooding. ¿Qué es eso? Brooding, showing deep unhappiness of thought. Into brooding. When, with a start, he lifted his head again and looked round, he forgot at once what he had just been thinking about, and even where he was going. In this way, he walked right across Dostoevsky Ostrov, came out on the lesser Neva, crossed the bridge, and turned towards the islands. The greenness and freshness were at first restful to his weary eyes after the dust of the town. Sorry. The greenness and freshness were at first restful to his weary eyes after the dust of the town, and the huge houses that hemmed him and weighed upon him. Here there were no taverns, no stifling closeness, no stench, but soon these new pleasant sensations passed into morbid irritability. Sometimes he stood still before a brightly painted summer villa, standing among green foliage. He gazed through the fence and saw in the distance a smartly dressed woman on the oh, on the verandas. Verandas, a roof platform along the outside of a house, a balcony basically. On the verandas, all como un barandal, and balconies, and children running in the gardens. The flowers especially caught his attention. He gazed at them longer than at anything. He was met to by luxurious carriages and by men and women on horseback. He watched them with curious eyes and forgot about them before they had vanished from his sight. Once he stood still and counted his money. He found he had 30 kopecks, 20 to the policeman, 3 to Nastasia, Nastasia. Sorry, let me start again. 20 to the policeman, 3 to Nastasia for the letter. So I must have given 47 or 50 to the marmalade dolls yesterday. He thought, reckoning it up for some unknown reason, but he soon forgot with what object he had taken the money out of his pocket. He recalled it on passing an eating house or tavern. He felt that he was hungry. Going into the tavern, he drank a glass of vodka and ate a pie of some sort. Sorry. He finished eating it, and as he walked away, it was a long while since he had taken vodka, and it had an effect upon him at once. Though he only drank a wine glassful, his legs felt suddenly heavy, and a great drowsiness came upon him. He turned homewards, but reaching Petrovsky Ostrov, he stopped completely exhausted, turned off the road into the bushes, sank down upon the grass, and instantly fell asleep. In a morbid condition of the brain, dreams often have a singular actuality, vividness, and extraordinary semblance of reality. At times, monstrous images are created, but the setting and the whole picture are so truth-like and filled with details so delicate and unexpectedly, but so artistically consistent, that the dreamer, were he an artist like a Pushkin or Turgenev even, could never have invented them in the waking state, sorry. Such sick dreams always remain long in the memory and make a powerful impression on the overwrought overwrought in a state of nervous excitement or anxiety. So true power impression. Such a powerful impression of the overwrought in the and deranged nervous system. Raskolnikov had a fearful dream. He dreamt he was back in his childhood in the little town of his birth. He was a child about 7 years old, walking into the country with his father on the evening of a holiday. It was a gray and heavy day. The country was exactly as he remembered it. Indeed, he recalled it far more vividly in his dream than he had done in memory. The little town stood on a level flat, as bare as the hand. Not even a willow near it. Not even a willow near it. Only in the far distance, a cusp. The fuck is a cusp? Cops sleigh. Cops. A small group. Oh, cool. A copse lay, a dark blur, on the very edge of the horizon. A few paces beyond the last market garden stood a tavern, a big tavern, which had always aroused in him a feeling of aversion, even of fear. When he walked by with his father, there was always a crowd there, always shouting, laughter and abuse, hideous, hoarse singing, and often fighting. Drunken and horrible-looking figures were hanging about the tavern. He used to cling close to his father, trembling all over when he met them. Near the tavern, the road became a dusty track, but the dust of which was always black. It was a winding road, and about 100 paces further on, it turned to the right to the graveyard. In the middle of the graveyard stood a stone church with a green cupola where he used to go to mass 2 or 3 times a year with his father and mother. When a service was held in memory of his grandmother, who had long been dead and whom he had never seen. On these occasions, they used to take on a white dish tied up in a table napkin, a special sort of rice pudding with raisins stuck in it in the shape of a cross. He loved that church, the old-fashioned, unadorned icons, and the old priest with the shaking head. Near his grandmother's grave, which was marked by a stone, was the little grave of his younger brother, who had died at 6 months old. He did not remember him at all, but he had been told about his little brother, and whenever he visited the graveyard, he used religiously and reverently to cross himself and bow down and kiss the little grave. And now he dreamt that he was walking with his father past the tavern on the way to the graveyard. He was holding his father's hand and looking with dread at the tavern. A peculiar circumstance attracted his attention. There seemed to be some kind of festivity going on. There were crowds of gaily dressed townspeople. Know what I think it means? Oh, never mind. Gaily as like happy. Because that's what it means. Doesn't mean what you guys think it means. Wait, how did you pronounce it though? Okay, yeah, got it. Dressed townspeople. Peasant women, their husbands, and a riff-raff of all sorts. All singing, and all the more or less drunk. Near the entrance of the tavern stood a cart, but a strange cart. It was one of those big carts, usually drawn by heavy cart horses and laden or laden. Laden. Heavy loaded or weighted. Laden. And laden with casks of wine or other heavy goods. He always liked looking at those great cart horses with their long manes, thick legs, and slow, even pace, drawing along a perfect mountain with no appearance of effort, as though it were easier going with a load than without it. But now, strange to say, in the shafts of such cart he saw a thin little sorrel beast, one of those peasants, nags with no nags which he had often seen straining their utmost under a heavy load of wood or hay, especially when the wheels were stuck. Sorry, even no, especially when the wheels were stuck in the mud or in a rut, and the peasants would be at them so cruelly, sorry, sometimes even about the nose and eyes, and he felt so sorry for them, that he almost cried. And his mother always used to take him away from the window. All of a sudden, there was there was a great uproar of shouting, singing at the balalaika. Balalaika. I like that word. I hope it means baile. At the balalaika. Balalaika. I said it right. The Russian instrument like a guitar, triangle, but cool. Lots of setup singing and the balalaika. And from the tavern, a number of big and very drunken peasants came out, wearing red and blue shirts and coats thrown over their shoulders. Get in, shouted one of them, a young thick-necked peasant with a fleshy red face as a carrot. I'll take you all. Get in. But at once there was an outbreak of laughter and exclamations in the crowd. Take us all with a beast like that. Why, Mikolka? Are you crazy to put a rag like that in such a cart? And this is mere. Is it like mere? Oh, I didn't know that's how you say it. Yegua, mare. And this mare is 20. If she is a day. What the fuck? I don't know. Get in. I'll take all. I'll take you all. Mikolka shouted again, leaping first into the cart, seizing the reins, and standing straight up in front. By the bay has gone with Marvy, he shouted from the cart, and his brute mates is just breaking my heart. I feel as if I could kill her. She's just eating her head off. Get in, I tell you. I'll make her gallop. She'll gallop. And he picked up the whip, preparing himself with relish to flog. What the frick is flag? The little mare. Tickle and respond. Wait, that's not what I looked. I looked to flog. What did it say? Flighty. Oh, beat. Oh. To beat someone with this. That's crazy. Get in, come along. The crowd laughed. Do you hear she'll gallop? Gallop indeed. She has not had a gallop in her for the last 10 years. She'll jog along. Don't you mind her, mates. Bring a whip, each of you. Get ready. All right, give it to her. They all clambered into Mikolka's cart, laughing and making jokes. 6 men got in, and there was still room for more. They hauled in a fat, rosy-cheeked woman. She was dressed in a red cotton, in a pointed, beaded headdress, and thick leather shoes. She was cracking nuts and laughing. The crowd round them was laughing too, and indeed, how could they help laughing? The wretched nag was to drag all the cartload of them at a gallop. 2 young fellows in the cart were just getting whips ready to help Mikolka, with the cry of now. The mare, tugged with all her might, but far from galloping, could scarcely move forward. She struggled with her legs, gasping and shrinking from the blows of the 3 whips, which were showered upon her like hail. The laughter in the crowd was redoubled, but Mikolka flew into rage and furiously thrashed the mare as though he supposed she could gallop. Alright, I'm gonna just wrap it up there. We'll find out what happens with the mare later on, but that's it for today.